Simply put, what I do is I help people, generally business owners, go further faster. So whatever it is a business owner wants to accomplish in their business, I help them accomplish those goals and get there faster and generally more easily. So whatever the issues a business owner is dealing with, generally speaking, I've come up against those issues maybe 5 or 10 times in the past, and I've got some answers for them of how to implement the solutions to the problems that they bring to me, and as I say, get them further faster. I'm a business generalist, so I'm not an accountant and I'm not a lawyer. I'm not necessarily a marketing specialist or an HR specialist, but I've got experience in all those areas. And I find what a lot of business owners are missing is someone they can trust to give them answers that fit together, not just from a legal perspective or from an HR perspective or from a marketing perspective, but a solution that marries all of those different issues together into a sensible framework of how to move their business forward. Let me give you an example. So for instance, one of the clients that I work with currently had a number of issues to address when we first started working together. So there were two shareholders involved in the business at that stage, and as shareholders they weren't working very well together. So after exploring a few different ways that we could make things better, it became clear that the best strategy was going to be for one of the shareholders to buy the other out. So I facilitated the buy-sale arrangement there, helped put finance in place, and both shareholders were happy with the outcome. The shareholder that exited got a fair value. The shareholder that stayed in the business paid a fair value and had some finance in place. So the business has been allowed to grow. Their time, effort and energy has been put into business growing now as opposed to resolving internal issues. So the last 12 months that particular business has had 63% growth, and that just wouldn't have happened if they were still putting time and energy into resolving shareholder issues as opposed to moving the business forward. So there aren't that many people around who have got the depth of understanding and range of skills that can identify the issues that need to be addressed and then actually facilitate resolving those issues in a win-win way. How I make more money for my clients begins with looking at their numbers. So the people I work with generally have varying degrees of understanding of what their numbers, their accounting numbers, are actually telling them. So the starting point for me is looking at where are you making profits, where are you not making profits, what does it make sense to do according to what your existing accounting numbers are telling us. So normally we look at the high margin products, who's buying them, how can we sell more of those high margin products to more people. And part of that is usually helping my clients get clearer on exactly what is the niche that they should be targeting. I enjoy working with businesses and get the best results when people have been in business for a while and generally have a turnover of $1 million plus. So typically business owners who have been in business for anywhere between 4 to 6 years, having growth, and they want to accelerate that growth from $1 million up to 5, 10, 15, $20 million. So I enjoy taking my clients on that exciting roller coaster ride from $1 million up to 5, 10, 15, 20. That's the most exciting part for me. So what are some of the normal challenges that we deal with fairly new clients? Tend to revolve around leadership and team issues. So typically speaking, some of the entrepreneurial types that I work with aren't necessarily great leaders when we start working, and their teams aren't necessarily performing as highly as they'd like, and that's completely normal. So one of the first things that we do when I begin working with them is I identify any issues they may have in their team in terms of performance or personalities, and figure out what's a realistic strategy and a realistic time frame to address those issues. And at the end of 6 months working with me, I've got a rule. Any personnel issues we have sorted out within 6 months, because we're going to modify that person's performance, and I'll give them tools and techniques to actually modify that person's performance because they probably haven't been doing enough to address the performance issues. Or we're going to counsel that person out of the role, and a lot of employers have got a lot of fear around, well, how am I actually going to exit this person from the operation if they're not an asset? And it can be done. It doesn't need to be a messy, bloody or hard experience. So we can exit people from an employment situation. And then the third option, which isn't my preferred option, is they just stop complaining about that employee. So once we're clear someone's either an asset or a liability to the business, we're either going to modify their behaviour, counsel them out, or just stop complaining about them. So typically speaking, within 6 months, all the personnel issues have either been addressed or the business owners have learned to accept them the way they are. Yeah, one of the other main issues that we address is business leadership. So to be frank, a lot of businesses in New Zealand underperform because the business owner or the business manager is underperforming and doesn't have a good enough toolbox of tools and techniques that they can use in their leadership role to actually generate amazing results from their team. And I liken it to a sports commentator. Too often people as business owners and managers are commentating on their team's performance the way a sports commentator commentates on a sports team's performance, as opposed to getting stuck in and doing something about that performance. So that's how I change or get my business owners to change their perspective. There's absolutely no point giving me a running commentary on how your team's going. What we're interested in and what we work on is what are we actually going to do on the court or on the playing field to make a difference to the team's performance, to actually get them performing like the All Blacks on a good day, as opposed to just the local side that are muddling around on the field and are there for fun but aren't necessarily producing fantastic results. So the best way to get hold of me now, if you want to, is to flick me your email details and I'll send you some information back, or give me a call on my 0800 number, and normally I'll respond to that within a working day. Many thanks. Bye.